This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeff Gardner.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on, Chad Dranchuk of Santa C. Chad, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think you've got to be the first. I have an assumption built up in my mind of what your business is, but we don't do research on the business prior to coming on the show, specifically because the questions we have are organically popping up into our head, probably very similar to the questions that the audience has. So we know very little, and let's start off from the top. What is Santa C? Who is Santa C?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I am Santa C, and what I mean by that is that I have been portraying Santa in and around Barrie since 2021, and it's started off very small, and things are taking off. This year, I'm always busy every year, but I'm getting more busy this year for sure. Yeah.
More busy, more good. I like it. Okay, so you got the beard. That's real, yes?
Yeah, the beard is real. Yeah.
Sweet. And then are you Santa like all year?
No, actually, I am Santa primarily November, December. This year I've started a bit earlier, and I do work with a variety of clients. Starting off with a number of photographers in Barrie who have hired me to come and be part of photo sessions with kids and families and some pets. I haven't done any pets yet this year, but I have done pets in the past. And so from about beginning of November right till the 21st of December, this is what I do. Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about that. What is it that you do? Photographers can hire you to do what?
Yeah, so with photographers, for example, just this past weekend, I've spent a full Saturday, full Sunday, so 8 hours of hanging out at a photo studio. Photographer has a number of families. I think Saturday we saw 15 families. Sunday we saw 22 families that come in for mini photo sessions. So about 20 minutes a family come in. This particular photographer, she has me off to the side in a different room, and just kind of to let the kids warm up to the idea of the photo session in general. And then she calls me in. And I have a little chat with the kids and take some pictures. And then off they go. And then it's on to the next family. So photographers is a big one. And I also do other types of events as well. Mm-hmm.
So again, trying to get a clear picture of it. What is it you do? So you said the photographer's having you in the back, then you come out, you have a chat with the kids, and then on to the next family. Paint the picture of what are you doing as Santa? Are you dressed up? Are you sitting there? Are we sitting on your lap, handing out presents? Like, what is the experience like, to kind of paint a picture in the audience's mind?
So when the photographer calls me in, I'm fully dressed as Santa. I've got a big red suit, big hat, big furry hat. I come in, and most kids are, they're fairly receptive. You get the ones who, it's just sheer terror for them.
And that is Santa. Everybody loves Santa.
You would think that everybody loves Santa. There's that magic age, probably from about, I don't know, a year and a half to 3, maybe sometimes 4. The kids are, pretty terrified. But the parents love that, and they, I put up both arms, and they
love that.
Oh, they do. They think it's hilarious. They just, the kids screaming and
love
crying
terrifying their kids, eh?
Yeah, they'll just put me on, or they'll just put the kid on my lap, and the photographer will take the picture. Yeah. So when I go in, I'm, like I said, fully dressed as Santa, and say a quick hello to them. And, usually I would say to them, they're all dressed very well. So I compliment them on how they're dressed and ask them how they've been doing. Some kids are this particular photographer, this is the second year that I've worked with her. So there's some kids are very memorable. So if I remember them from last year, I acknowledge that and just want to make it personal. And then have a seat usually between, if there's two kids, between the kids. We just talk about, what sort of things they've been doing this past year, what they want for Christmas, smile for a few pictures. The photographer has me doing different things. She'll pull out a book and, we'll look at a story together, those sorts of things. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It goes by very quick, long days, but the sessions go by very quick. And yeah, that's essentially what a session would look like with a photographer. Yeah.
So you walking around, or you sitting in that seat? In my head, the last time I did the Santa thing, it was always in the mall. So almost every year I pretty much see Santa sitting there. He's got kids climbing all over him. Some are screaming, like you said. Some love it and saying, "You better get me this present this year, Santa. I want a pony. So give it to me." Some kids are like, "Wow, that's A-type, baby. Woo!" So you sitting, you walking around.
So with the photographers, I'm generally sitting. And I'm not the, if kids want to sit on my knee, they'll sit on their knee. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I don't want the parents to feel uncomfortable. If they want to sit on my knee, they can. Most of them stand beside me. We just have our little chat that way. Or they sit beside me. But I've never been the Santa who, you must sit on my knee because that's what's going to make it, the best
More
experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of, it's more so the parents who have this idea in their head of what they want for the photos. So, it's so some like sitting, and then some of the other events. So I've done some markets, some customer appreciation events, and those are more walking around, interacting with the vendors, interacting with the customers, that's those sorts of things. So the markets and the bigger events are more casual. Some of them have a spot for me to sit for a little while and take pictures if that's what they want to do. But yeah, markets, festivals. I've done a number of things, and this year I've got some bigger bookings. Some breakfast with Santa at IKEA actually
Nice.
booked me for a couple days.
And
This year.
how authentic is it? Like, are you eating the milk and cookies? Are you bringing around a bag of presents? Are you doing the voice?
So it's mostly just the voice.
You got the voice.
Yeah. So I've got the voice, and I lower my voice a little deeper, and
do you do the ho ho ho?
Yes. Yes. Well, Jeff, you're on the nice list this year, my friend.
I hope so, man. I've been working hard, and I want that pony, Santa.
Well,
been wanting it for 36 years, actually.
Well, you keep asking for that, and you must know that I don't bring pets. I don't deliver pets.
Right.
Yes. Whenever a child asks me for a dog or a cat or any other pet, I say, well, we don't deliver pets from the North Pole. So that gives you a sense, right? Of thank you. Of how I talk to a child. It's a lot of fun. Gifts. So when I first started talking about gifts, when I first started doing this, I did more house visits, and they're fun. House visits are fun. They've got their challenges for sure. Some people, again, it comes down to the parents and what their expectations or their ideas are of Santa. If there's gifts, we usually arrange ahead of time. They'll leave a bag of gifts outside the house. and grab the bag and come in and deliver the gifts to the kids. And I've done some house visits where it's been great. And I've done some house visits where that is just absolute chaos. And the last thing they care about is the fact that I'm there. I don't do house visits anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, but I've learned probably after my first year that I would much prefer to do, the big events, the festivals and the markets, and where there's, a lot of people. I love the energy, and I love seeing people smile when I walk in the room. Most people smile when I walk in the room. Um, but and I can do it very easily as Santa. If I were just some strange guy walk in the room and start talking to small children, well, that goes a totally different direction, and not recommended. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have a blast, and for me, it's about bringing joy to people, um, young kids to adults, seniors. You
Sure.
know,
Everybody loves
it
Santa, man. And actually, I want to dive into that a little bit because I like where you just took that. That really is the next thing on the plate. Is it's such an first off, I'm wondering, is there a competition out there? Is there more than one Santa? Because there's
oh.
only supposed to be one Santa. Dad. There's
Oh,
only supposed to be
I never see it as competition. No, no, I'm definitely not the only Santa in the area. I've gotten to know a number of Santas locally,
yeah.
some within the region.
Got other good
Um,
Santas out there? You guys part of like a crew, a Santa crew by any chance? You guys
yeah,
collaborate with each other?
yeah, actually, there's a few of us.
Seriously.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. We get together once in a while. There's a few of us within the area, within Simcoe County, actually, that we chat and support each other, and we've gotten together a few times. Some of them are much older than I am, and some of them are my age, and some of them are uh, far less mobile than I am. But they're fun. It's good. I've met some guys over the last few years that are, they want to support you, they want to encourage you, they want to work together. Like, hey, I've someone asked me, to do this gig, but I can't. Are you available? So it's gotten to that point where we can support each other and be like, hey, I've got a gig, I can't do it. Do you want to do it? That kind of stuff.
Got your own
Um,
brotherhood of Santas. It's
yeah. Oh,
fantastic.
absolutely. And it's big in Canada, but even like far larger in the States. And
I
they take it way more seriously in the States.
Yeah, I
But
imagine.
I've met some guys too. They won't even give you the time of day. They won't even. They're like, oh yeah, all they see is competition, and they don't want to have anything to do with you. So,
Snobby Santas? You can't be a snobby Santa. We
uh,
have we have
yeah,
these images and these stories, like human beings are storytellers, as I was talking to you about before the show. We're marketers. What is the core of that at the end of the day? It's human connection through storytelling. So we have these
exactly.
stories in our head of Santa just being this all around beautiful experience, jovial, everything's joyous. Can't be snobby. But I do want to redirect a little bit here and talk about what brings a person to become Santa. I mean, you said you started in 2021, so we're talking about 3 years, 3 or 4 seasons here.
Hmm.
And what made you decide at 2021, you're probably in the middle of COVID at that point, I'm assuming, to
Yeah.
just be Santa?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I've always been a big kid.
A big
Uh,
kid? Yeah, yeah,
I've always been a big kid.
yeah,
I've
sure.
never acted my age. I have two kids of my own, and when they were much younger, they're 17 and 15 now. But when they were, little, I had a Santa suit, um, and we do that for them, and had a lot of fun with that. And I've, when I got to 2021, a big part of why I wanted to do this was exactly what you had said about COVID. It was, people were still very shy about going to the long lineups at the malls.
They're fearful. There
Yeah,
was fear everywhere.
exactly. And we did take our own kids, I think it was 2021. And, Santa's wearing a mask. My kids are wearing masks.
Oh,
They're like distance from each other. Um, but
not the same experience. Santa
no,
with a mask, man. The beard and this part
yeah,
of Santa is like
yeah.
80% of the thing.
It wasn't the same. So, I mean, I got into it because I wanted to give people a more personal experience. I wanted them to see that, you know, Santa's not just this um, mythical or legend fairy tale character that you only see in the mall once a year. Santa can come to you, and that's what I wanted to do. So, like I said, I started with the house visits, got into the markets, and it just became more of a more personal experience for the families, for the kids. Um, there's one family that I connected with in my first year, and I see them. They have a young boy, and I do visit them every year, and you get to see kids grow up as well. It's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, I've seen you in the mall and I don't remember you, you don't remember me,
Yeah,
but you
you
make
get
that more.
connected.
Yeah, you make a personal connection with the families, and some families, I do stay connected with the parents throughout the year. Not all of them, but there's some that the connection
Yeah,
is big, and it just
yeah.
it sticks around all year. Yeah.
And are you local? I know you do work in Barrie and Simcoe County, but do you live here as well?
Yeah, I live right in Barrie. Yeah, I'm in Barrie.
So really, I mean, you said I'm a kid at heart, which is very cool. I mean, some of the most successful people in my life, some of them are just staunch business people, that kind of stereotypical that we see on TV, cold,
hmm
very calculative. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. You live your life how you want to live your life. But I'm talking success in a business way. In that example, there are some of those stereotypical figures out there. But when I define success in life, that's not just financial freedom. That's relationship. That's love. That's enjoying the
hmm
moments. And those people typically are the most jovial. And they always have that childlike kind of wonderment about them, that playfulness, even in their 70s and 50s and 30s, whatever it may be. So I get that part. And then bringing joy to other people. There's few
hmm
things that are as fulfilling as doing something that lifts somebody's spirit up, especially at that time of year. It is my favorite time of year. I also love Halloween, but Christmas is my jam. Once that snow
hmm
starts falling a little bit and there's more snow than there is slush, you got the evergreens with the branches really hanging down from that heavy snow. Get those forest walks going on. I'm starting to plant
hmm
presents, and I'm starting to already taste the shrimp 3 weeks before the shrimp comes out, right? And it's
Yeah.
just family and friends. And I have this image it's just a beautiful image burnt into my mind because Christmas has always been a very special time. Rewatch the same movies over and over and over again.
hmm
It's just playful, really no responsibilities, and it's just a good time.
Oh, it's
So
great. Yeah.
I love that that's your reasoning behind it. I think it's a great thing. Usually we talk about myths and misconceptions, but you don't have a
Uh,
standard business. You're certainly the only Santa that's been on the show, probably going to be the only one. If you know of any myths or misconceptions about your industry, share them with us. Otherwise, love to get into you a bit more. You have any myths or misconceptions for us?
yeah, actually, one of the
Okay.
biggest things that I've learned and have heard uh, from people is, I reach out. I try to reach out. Well, it's usually around August is when people start connecting. They start reaching out to me. They're like, "Oh, I want to
Really?
book you. I'm interested." Oh yeah. Uh, you also get the ones who are, "Oh, I need a Santa next week. Are you available?" No, I'm
That would
not.
be me. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That would be me.
You're gonna get Wish Santa.
Yeah.
No. Myths, yes, would be well, Santa is just for children.
Okay.
We don't have the plates for you at our event because it's not geared towards children. And thank you. Have a nice day. That's probably the biggest one. And I'd have to say that's wrong. Santa is for everybody. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a small child or if you're, 90s, whatever. Santa's for everyone because Santa isn't the necessarily or shouldn't just be the person or the idea that people have of Santa, but Santa's the joy, the love and the excitement of getting people into the spirit of Christmas. That's a big part of what I do, of what Santa does. And so that would probably be the biggest myth or misconception, is that Santa isn't, Santa's just for kids.
Just for kids.
Yeah.
Now, so the pressure's on you then. I'm going to start calling you Santa for the rest of the show because I feel
absolutely.
Like so the pressure's on you, Santa, to bring that joy every time. We can't have a miserable or sad or gloomy Santa, although Santa is human and we should be, empathetic to all humans. But when Santa shows up looking like Santa, we're expecting Santa to bring his A game. Do you feel like that pressure? Like, is it hard to tap into that joy every time, or you just love doing what you do so much it's just natural?
Sometimes it can be a challenge.
Yeah, sure.
For sure. I mean, yes, I have bad days too. There's days where I've got, 3 or 4 gigs lined up and something happens at home and before I get to the gig, I'm Mr. Cranky Pants,
right.
Mr. Green Guy. But when you show up at an event, when it's like, okay, the event starts at 11, you're on, and you are, I put on my best face. I get out there, and there's events that are, I'm there for a couple hours and it's going really well. Sometimes if it's 7-8 hour day, naturally as the day goes on, I'm tired. and so, the last hour sometimes I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to go home. But you're on the whole time. And when there's a break, I'll take my break and I just kind of gotta take a deep breath and decompress. Yeah.
I mean, it's like a role to play. I mean, I imagine it's acting a little bit. I imagine there's a lot of you in there as well because you want to do it. But
absolutely.
You run on the same batteries that the rest of us run. An 8-hour day of being on all the time is, I imagine it's draining. So Santa has real human limitations.
Absolutely. And I'll just say an example the other day with the photographer. It was near the end of the day and the photographer, she likes to get, what color are Santa's eyes is one question that she asks kids to get them to look at me. So, what color are Santa's eyes? And this, one kid, green, blue. And one little boy looks at my eyes and goes, his eyes are the color tired. I was like, okay, all right. Yep. So either you see that or you're just being funny. But he wasn't wrong. That was near the end of the day and I was tired for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get it. Pivoting a bit here, Santa, to talk about you a little bit, because everybody wants to know, what does, outside of just bringing the joy, right? Santa, well, I mean, you're on for multiple months. In our head, Santa is just every minute of every day for 2 weeks or whatever it is, or even 24 hours, somehow travels the whole world in 24 hours and gives us all of our presents. We're going to have to dig into that at some point there, Santa. But what do you get up to for joy? Are you hanging out with Mrs. Claus? You got your kids, there are elves around. Like, what puts a smile on Santa's face outside of doing Santa duties?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love my family. As I said, my kids are older now, so they don't want to spend a lot of time with me. But
Come on.
yeah, imagine that.
15 and 17?
Teenagers. No, they just
Yeah.
want the car.
I
Yeah,
bet. The
yeah,
sleigh. I get it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just want to use this thing. Exactly. So, for fun, eh, over the course of the year, we've got a nice backyard. We spent a lot of time in our backyard. We were close to home this past summer, just relaxing and enjoying our backyard, just being together, brings me a lot of joy. And during the Santa season, during my season, like I said, I've started my season already. It goes right till the 21st of December. So I've had to become more purposeful and intentional about not overbooking my schedule. I did that one year, and at the end of the season, I was very sick. I ended up getting COVID, and it was not good. Just yeah, I overdid it, and
Mhm.
so this year, I mean, we've got to be more. I've got to be more intentional about taking the time to do things just for fun. So we love Christmas at our house. So we try to plan different activities that are Christmas related. Whether it's going to see lights somewhere or going to take in a Christmas play, or that sort of thing. Um, Simple things like putting up the Christmas tree. I make sure that we're all together to do that. Um,
Is that a
Christmas,
thing at Santa's house? Like that's an event, putting up the
it
tree
is,
together,
yeah,
family
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It's usually the second or third weekend of November, and that's what we do. My job is to bring the tree up, uh, and put it together, and and then we put the lights on, decorate it, and we've got music playing in the background, and just we make we have a good time with it. My kids, they'll participate, and as soon as the star goes on, they're gone. But yeah, no, we have a lot of fun, and we just try to be purposeful and intentional about downtime in general for the family, and for myself, just to make sure that I'm not overbooking myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's important for all humans. It's interesting. I do some counseling. Most of the people that listen to the show know that this is a part of my life. At an addictions facility, I busted both. I'm 37 now. I busted both my legs around 26. That turned into a dependency on pain medication. You learn a lot of skills
Mm.
getting out of that lifestyle to help yourself live a better life. That's pretty much where I'm going with this. And then eventually I wanted to give back in some way and got trained to be a counselor. And then now I'm a counselor on the weekend, something I can do, volunteer and give back in a way. But a lot of the things that we find with people who struggle with addiction is it's extremes. Like if
Mm.
you are using a substance, it's to an extreme. If you are in work, it's to an extreme. We have a wellness center at this facility called Cornerstone Recovery. Half the building is a gym where we do. I've been a personal trainer for a very long time. Fitness is kind of the foundation to everything in my life. It's my core. Like being in shape, helps the mind, helps the body, keeps me
Mm.
right. But so there's gym equipment in there, yoga mats. We have all different types of classes, meditation and stuff. And we see a lot of the guys that haven't really worked on that addiction side. They just trade one for the other. Unbelievable in the gym,
Mm.
too extreme. So we talk about it so often that I don't know if it is Santa, but it seems like one of the keys to life is really finding that harmony for you. Some people want to work 80 hours a week and can still get their time with the wife and the kids, still ride their bike and do their things. And if that's harmony for them, that's great. But we do need this balance, something, not equal
Mhm.
balance. When people say balance, I'm like, how do I work 40, 50, 60 hours a week and have that amount of time with my friends and my fitness? So it's not a balance for me, but it is a harmony that I need to balance my rest with my activity. Otherwise, things go sour. Like you said, getting sick. It is something that us humans struggle with. And the few that I've met that seem to have it dialed in, usually much older, 50s and 60s, because they've had 40 years to kind of practice it, very intentional about it. They seem to be very happy people. They seem to never get sick. And stress doesn't beat them down as much because they are practicing that foot on the gas, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, foot on the brake. But so we're finding so much about Santa. Nobody knew that Santa got sick.
You learn something new every day.
That's it, man. No, this has been really fun. This question we love. It's about the messiness of being a human. Really, it's not. We promote the positivity of being humans on social media. We even spiff it up a little bit. Sometimes not even real. We edit it. There's some AI in there. So a lot of times we get that promotion of, here's all my fancy stuff and here's how great life is. But if you open the door to that person's life, it's like, wow, what I saw of you online is very different than who you really are. And then if you go to the other extreme where you have like the salacious news that's very shock and off, it bleeds, it leads kind of thing. And they're trying their best to shock you because it grabs your attention. They know the psychology of the mind. So you have this like overdone pleasure side of life and overdone scarcity, fearful side of life. We try to find the real in the middle somewhere there. So we started with the question, like, what brings joy to your day? And you share that with us, and that's awesome. And this question is about the hardships. And I won't provide too much context. Usually I talk for like 6 minutes to this question, but I mean, really, this is as simple as it is. Some of the hardest moments of my life have produced the most amount of growth. So now, being the age that I am, would I remove those ingredients from the recipe that has become me? And the answer is absolutely not. If I didn't go through those things, like breaking both those legs, I wouldn't be enjoying my life the way I am now. Had I not had those people pass in my life, friends and family, I wouldn't be who I am now. So it's like the good and the bad make you who you are. I call it the beauty and the scars are both puzzle pieces to make this beautiful painting, this beautiful artistry that is the human being. So we love to ask the guests on the show because we want to be a part of that wave of messaging, sharing our hardships. Because when one person does it and we see that they're living a good life, we're more honest with ourselves and we don't avoid those hardships so much. We don't stuff them down like there's something to be ashamed of, but more of like, this is just being human. Yeah, I go through some hard shit sometimes. Or yeah, I am blue right now. And that's okay because I'm human. It's like, I'm tired. I'm happy. I'm blue. I'm excited. All things that are part of being a human. So we love to ask the guests on the show, any hardships you've been through that when you went through them probably sucked as Santa or as Chad. But when you look back in hindsight, knowing what you know now, would you remove those ingredients from the recipe that has become you? Have you learned things from them? Are all hardships negative, essentially? Like what has molded you from complicated times?
So no, I wouldn't. And I'll be honest with you. So a number of years ago, I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder. And
no fun, that one.
No, definitely not. And around the same time, diagnosed with adult ADHD. And not fun. That's not fun either. So with those, also, over the course of the pandemic, started working from home very early on during the pandemic and still working from home. But that anxiety manifested itself more into social anxiety. So having those moments where it's like, oh, I'm really enjoying working from home. I don't want to be around people. So, and when, going into the office for an in-person meeting, I would just get so worked up and so anxious about it because I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
I sometimes don't want to be around my own friends. I have wonderful neighbors. Sometimes I don't want to be around my neighbors. I don't want to be around people.
Yeah.
So it's weird because, okay, I have these anxieties, but I'm Santa. And so a big part of why I do what I do as Santa is because I want to not only bring the joy and the happiness to other people, it also helps me, but I have to push myself to go out there. And like I said before, when I'm on. It can be very exhausting being Santa in any setting. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But when that event ends and I get in my vehicle to come home, I get home, I'm just absolutely drained. I'm just I'm wiped out. Um, do do I wish that I didn't have the anxieties that I do or the ADHD? Not at all. I think we can, like you said, nobody talks about it. And I want people to know that I'm human. Yeah, we talked about the humanity of Santa. I'm human too. We're all human.
Yeah.
But I love what I do. And every year, I have this gap between December and November. It's like, okay, but I'm doing some things to get prepped for the season as it gets closer. And always the first day of the new season, I get very anxious.
Mhm.
It's like a stage fright. But I get there and I do it, and I see the smiles on the faces of the kids and the families and parents, and people bring their pets, and I love it. And that's healing for me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hmm.
And that's what I'm hearing. It's again, in marketing, we have a pretty big team, my partner and I. Great staff of people, just wonderful, wonderful people. And we're constantly talking about, like, I have my rules for life inked onto my arm because I say I take life very seriously so that I can enjoy the F out of it. Normally, if for this show, I'll say enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah.
But I think there's simple rules to life that if you follow them, you get outsized returns and you can really enjoy it. One of them is to do hard things. I find for me that the greatest opportunities are behind the door of fear in many cases. So it's like,
Hmm.
do I want to go talk to that person? Do I want to go take that opportunity? Yeah, there's risk and I may fail, but if I don't even try, I will never have a chance. Plus, what can I learn? Who can I become from
Yeah.
doing that thing? So you're using this practice, if you will, to become a better version of yourself while serving others, which is an amazing thing. That does seem to be like the knockout combo. For me, entrepreneurship is, I look at life as kind of like the Lord of the Rings journey, right? We start off with a
Yeah.
problem and we have a cause and a mission, and we have to find all these guides to learn these things along the way, go slay the
Hmm.
dragon, et cetera, et cetera. And so along this journey, you're going to meet new people and develop new skills. And then what do you do with those skills? You just keep them for yourself, or maybe you share them with other people. And so that's how we treat our business is we're going to go out there, learn knowledge, and build capabilities that not everybody has, that are rare, that can now benefit other people. And through that journey, I'm becoming a more effective avatar myself, character in my own video game type of thing, and then
Hmm.
helping other people. So it doesn't surprise me at all, actually, when you said I have anxiety. I'm like, yeah, makes total sense. And but he's tackling it by doing an extremely social thing. It's not like you're like, I'll dip my toe in the water here and talk to one
No.
person a month. It's like, no,
It's jumping in.
I'm
It's
gonna
it's
go be Santa.
it's jumping into the fire. Let me
Talk
tell you.
about, yeah,
Yeah.
talk about leaning into discomfort, which I got to tell you, Santa, I have a great deal of respect for. Takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of self-awareness. And, you said it yourself. I was going to say, I imagine it's brought a lot of joy to your life, but you've already said that, which is a fantastic thing. Last one for you before we get your contact details.
Hmm.
What do I want to ask here? I like doing this little thought experiment. So you got a group, I don't know, 500, 1,000 people in front of you, and they give you the mic for 90 seconds. And you want to tell them why Santa can benefit their life, or just speak to them in a way that resonates. Like, what do you say to a group of people that you're in Santa and you're trying to promote your business or trying to get them to understand your cause, your mission? What do you say to a group of people for 60 to 90 seconds? What would Santa tell these group of people to get them to understand why Santa can increase the quality of their life in some way?
Yeah, really it comes down to just not, I'm not sure how I would word it exactly, but not taking life so seriously.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Everybody's dealing with something. Uh, just remember that. And what I can do as Santa is, even just for a short period of time, I can hopefully help you, or help the other, help the people in the room forget about their problems, hopefully. And just, someone might be going through a extremely difficult time, but just for a moment, I would hope that I can put a smile on their face and just help them forget what they're dealing with, just for a moment. And at the same time, I feel that I can relate uh relate to people who, if you're going through a tough time, or you've got, an anxiety, or whatever's going on, I hope that I can be sensitive to that. I and just be able to really dial in. If I see somebody in a crowd who's, really down, miserable, sad, I'm not going to ignore them, because I think the last thing they need to be is ignored. I'm gonna, you know, I'm not gonna, but I'm also not gonna be like, hey, everybody, over in this corner here, we have, Doug Downer over here. I'm gonna, maybe on my way out, I'm just gonna, walk by them and just say hi to them, or like, a high five, or just a smile directed at them. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
How do people get in contact with you if they're interested? I imagine people, well, we already know they are. You're pretty booked up, but Santa's a pretty cool thing, man. And it brings a lot of joy, especially the kids. I know it's not just for kids, but when you can put a smile on a kid's face, I feel like I don't even have kids and I have this connection with them. I think it's because I have such a great relationship with my father, such a good mentor. But
Mm.
when you can make a child authentically smile, I think it's just it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, how can people get a hold of you, Santa? What's the best way to get in contact?
Yeah, so there's two ways. I mean, by email, they can get a hold of me at hellosantachad@gmail.com, is one way by email. So hellosantachad@gmail.com. Or they could reach out to me by texting. They can call me on my number, and hopefully I haven't had anybody misuse that. But yeah, my number is 705-817-2110.
Is there a website or a Facebook or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook as well. On Facebook, I'm Santachadfrombarrie. There's another Santa Chad somewhere in the States that I have no desire to be mistaken or affiliated with.
Yeah.
Um,
What
so
about
yes,
Instagram?
Instagram. So Instagram's a little more tricky, because it was in my first year. I was like, oh, what is my Instagram handle? So it's SEE dot Santa dot C dot on Insta dot G. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's confusing, but it will be in the
That
show
was
notes.
that was my that was in my first year, in the first couple months. So I typically don't go to that one first.
Yeah.
But yes, on Facebook, I'm Santachadfrombarrie, or they can reach me on email, at hellosantachad@gmail.com, and all the information, like my website information, everything is there too. So yeah.
Santa, you've been great. I've never actually spoken to Santa. I've sat on a couple of Santa. I must have said something, but it was so long. I was like 5 or 4 or something. So this is my first real adult conversation with Santa. You have definitely checked off one of the boxes that I didn't even know existed until you came on. I want to say that I'm the first person to bring Santa on a podcast. I don't even care if that's not true. That's what I'm going with. And that's what I'm going to tell everybody. I've had Santa on our podcast, and it was a very cool conversation. You've been great, man. I love what you do. I love that your whole thing is rooted in individual development, personal development, and bringing joy to others. It's a fantastic way to live, and it seems like it brings a lot of joy to you. And you certainly got the look for it, man. I would love to have a longer conversation to ask you, when did you decide one day you looked in the mirror and you're like, I think I could pull off this Santa thing? Fortunately, we're out of time now, but I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. You've been a pleasure to talk to, Santa.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for having me, and it's always a pleasure to speak to you as well.
Yes! Oh, man, you've been great. Until next time, you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the season, Santa.
All right. Bye-bye for now.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.